What is up, everybody? So today we're going to talk about a comment. It's a comment I get on the videos a lot, but this particular comment, and everyone that always posts it or something similar to it, only ever tells one side of the story. And everyone is like, oh, you only share one narrative, one side of the story yourself. And that's right, I share the narrative I want to share, but I have also shared the other narrative as well. I mean, I've read Ken Kratz's book, I've done a review on it, I'm currently reading Wrecking Crew, I read Jerome Buting's book, Illusion of Justice, I also have this book, Unmaking a Murderer by Sean Atwood, and I have this one. Now, I have not read those last two, and I haven't finished Wrecking Crew yet, but I will. And I will read those other ones as well. So I love to familiarize myself with both sides of the case. I talk more about one side of the case because that's what I believe, and this is my YouTube channel, so I can talk about whatever I want. But with that said, I'll never try to sway someone else's opinion away from what they believe. If you believe Steven Avery and Brendan Dassey are guilty, I'm sure you did your research and came to your own conclusion of why you feel like that. I'll never try to change someone's mind, but what I will do is provide the information that I believe, the information that I've researched, that I believe to be true, and share it with everybody. And then maybe that way someone will be like, oh, maybe this guy's onto something, or maybe this guy's full of it. I don't know. It definitely goes both ways, and I definitely understand it, and I'm always open for discussion from either side of things. Now, I have my opinion, you have yours, and that's fantastic. That's the way it should be. Everybody should be open to discussion. Now, this particular comment I will throw up on the screen for you and we can talk about it. This person is clearly not up to date on some information, and I will go over it just in case there's other people that aren't up to date on the information as well. Or this person could be up to date on information and just don't believe it, and that's fine too. There's always two sides. Now, this person, I don't know if they subscribe or not, but they commented, their name is Olliox. This is a crock. It's been years now. Zellner has nothing except some guy who claims he saw Bobby Dassey. How did he know who Bobby Dassey is? And some old man pushing Teresa's car. How did he know who Teresa was and what car she drove? Now, all of that has been explained. This is the part that I'm going to talk about, and still no explanation on how Steven Avery's blood found its way into Teresa's car. Avery did it. I always love when they were like, move on with your lives. I don't even know what that means. I know what this person thinks it means, but it's funny. I always get a kick out of stuff like that. So, still no explanation on how Steven Avery's blood found its way into Teresa's car. That's not true. That is, he either has not watched all of Making a Murderer, or hasn't done any research, or has and just doesn't believe what's put out there. If you watch season 2 of Making a Murderer, Kathleen Zellner absolutely explains how the blood got into Teresa Halbach's car. They demonstrate it, they show tests. Here's my question. They never tell the other side of that. Sure, they have Steven Avery's blood in the car. They have Steven Avery's DNA on the car. But what don't they have? If he's bleeding everywhere, if his DNA is everywhere, how come there's no fingerprints? Oh, because he wore gloves. No. If he wore gloves, the active bleeding cut from his finger that they say he had wouldn't have bled all over the car. His DNA from his hands wouldn't have been on the car. There are 0 fingerprints of Steven Avery on the RAV4. If you think Steven Avery is guilty because of the DNA and the blood, explain to me how there's no fingerprints. Do you think he got in the car, took his gloves off, and then bled everywhere, and then put them back on? Because his fingerprints aren't on the steering wheel or anywhere else inside the car either. It's not like that could have been a thing. He could have broke inside the car, took his gloves off, and bled everywhere. But there's no fingerprints inside the car either. So he was wearing gloves, allegedly in this theory, he would have been wearing gloves inside the car as well, which means there would have been no blood and no DNA. That's a very easy explanation for how Steven Averys' blood was found in Teresa Halbach's car. Because Steven Avery didn't bleed inside Teresa Halbach's car. If he did, there would be fingerprints. So explain the blood, but explain how it got there with no fingerprints of his on the outside of the car, on the inside of the car, where his DNA was, nothing. No fingerprints. Just makes absolutely no sense. So that's that one. We can knock that one out of the park. That's easy to explain. And now there's lots of other questions, and I'm no expert. I just read these books. I watch the news articles. I read all of the court filings. But I do not consider myself an expert by any means. There are a lot of people out there that know absolutely everything about this case, and a lot of them subscribe to this channel and help me out greatly. So if you have a question that is maybe more difficult to answer, leave it below. And if I can't answer it, odds are someone else from the community, someone else that subscribes to the channel, will be able to answer it for you. And if I can answer it, I will answer it as well. However, that explains that. Pretty easy. I don't know. Ollie Ox, clearly not a fan. I love it though. I love comments like that. I love people that call things out that they clearly either just don't believe or they just haven't done the research and know, and we can explain it. I doubt very much that this will change the way Ollie Ox sees things, and that's okay. I just wanted to throw this up there so that you guys can have something to discuss in the comments today. Let me know. I hope you're all having a good day, and I'll see you again soon.